Tell me what you're doing out here.
We drove up from El Paso, just come to Sea Otter, hang out in the sun.
What's your company do?
Oh, we manufacture ball bearings, ceramic bearings, for bicycles, and with that we make all parts that bicycles go into, or that ball bearings go into. And recently we started customizing them. So with Cerakote, we put all kinds of beautiful colors on them.
Now, how did you land in El Paso? Where did you come from then? Why the borderland of all the places you could go and manufacture?
So my wife works for the State Department, and her first assignment was in Juarez, Mexico. She said, let's do this and let's go. Embassies are only in amazing places. So that's how we ended up in Juarez and loved it.
Pivoting into the ball bearing business, how did you get into the ball bearing business?
I used to be a bike mechanic in Belgium, and ball bearings were my biggest frustrations. I was selling super high-end bikes, always those top-level bikes had 50-cent bearings in them. And once I moved to the US, I figured I needed a new project. Figured we're going to make the best ball bearings for bicycles that we can imagine.
Show me your product. What's special about your product?
Awesome. Here we have, this is what a ball bearing looks like. We make them specific for road cycles and for off-road use. So the difference is only in the seals. We use ceramic balls, steel races. That is best for durability and for lowest friction.
And what's the secret to manufacturing a good component like this?
A ball bearing is like a chain. It's as good as the weakest component. So you can have the best balls in the world, but then if you use terrible steel for the rings, or if you use a really sludgy grease in it, the whole thing still falls apart. So it's always about optimizing for the 5 components in a ball bearing to work together.
So that's a quotable. You can have the best balls in the world, but if you're not nailing all the other parts, you're lost.
Don't get me started on ball jokes.
That's excellent. Is this your sled over here?
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
This is a frame made by my friends in Colombia called Scarab. So it's a steel frame. Handmade. The paint job takes inspiration on one side. The patterns are from Chiva buses, which are in rural Colombia, the buses that take the workers to the farms. And then in the weekends, they flip up all the seats and they turn them into party buses. And they all have this really, really distinct pattern. Like artists go out and paint them. So that's where the pattern comes from. The colors take inspiration from my hometown in the Netherlands, which is Delft, famous for Delft blue pottery, which is white and blue with some gold accents in it.
I think I'm seeing the connection.
Exactly. And then for this year we just changed it and custom painted the derailleur cage on it to match the bike.
Now the ball bearings that you were showing me in your hand, where do they actually go for a person that doesn't know?
For a person who doesn't know, ball bearings sit inside anything that rotates on a bicycle. So they're inside your pedals, inside the bottom bracket, inside the wheels, the headset. Anything that rotates will have a ball bearing in it. Which
so bottom bracket, headset,
hubs, obviously, the wheels need to spin. Inside the derailleur pulleys here, you will find 2 ball bearings as well.
This can make a heck of a difference.
Exactly. Out of all those little pieces, if we can optimize them a little bit, there's about 12 or 14 ball bearings in a bicycle. So if we can gain a little bit of speed from each one of them, that makes a difference and you can feel it on your ride.
So let me pivot for just a second. Tariffs. Last year, everybody here was really shaken. They were fearful. How are you dealing with that?
It is what it is. They haven't gone away fully, but yes.
They improved a little bit last year?
It has improved, yeah. I think a federal judge rejected that our president could do that individually by his own decision. So many of them have gone away. Not all of them, so we're still paying high import duties, higher than they were in the past.
How has it impacted your business?
It's made things tough. In a time where things were already not so easy, it's just an extra expense that we have to deal with. And yeah, we're in a market where it's not as simple as we have higher costs, so we're just going to charge that to the end consumer because, we're also in a market where not many people have a lot of excess income that they can burn on things. So we have to find a balance between absorbing it and pushing some of it on our pricing.
How many people work for you, approximately?
At the moment, we have 4 people in the office and then a marketing team who works externally.
Do you have some people in Juarez doing stuff for you as well?
Oh, no. That's just me. I go to sleep there at night, but then cross the border.
You're living in Juarez?
I live in Juarez and then cross the border every day into El Paso.
Your wife's still at the State Department?
Correct. It's a U.S. Consulate, and they handle all the immigrant visas for all of Mexico from there. So it's a big battery of 50 windows where people are sitting doing interviews every day.